Florida with a Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial and Systems Engineering in 1987. Upon his graduation, he accepted a position with Anderson Consulting, known today as Accenture. He was fast-tracked through the organization and promoted to manager in 1992, and served on a variety of firm-wide leadership committees. In 1994, he was hired by one of his clients, Florida Crystals Corporation, as general manager of their consumer products division. Always driven by something greater, in 2000 he co-founded Adjoint. Adjoint was known as one of the fastest-growing U.S.-based IT services company in the industry. In 2006, the company was acquired by Canbay for $200 million, and Ron went on to become COO and SEC Section 16 officer of Canbay, a 7,000-person global IT services firm reporting directly to the CEO. In 2007, Canbay was acquired by Capgemini SE for $1.2 billion, where he served as managing director of their East U.S. business and on their U.S. country managing board until retirement in 2008. With the inherent engineering drive to better our world, Rod's entrepreneurial spirit poised him for what has been to date one of his most crowning achievements. In 2009, he co-founded VirtuStream, an enterprise-class cloud company that organizations worldwide trusted with their mission-critical applications. VirtuStream was acquired in 2015 by EMC for $1.2 billion. In that same year, Rod and VirtuStream ranked third on the Forbes list of best cloud computing companies and best CEOs to work for. As a direct report to the CEO of EMC, a $24 billion company, VirtuStream became one of EMC's Federation operating companies under Rod's continued leadership as CEO. Dell Technologies acquired EMC in 2016 for over $60 billion. He continued to lead VirtuStream to become one of Dell Technologies' ingredient brands. From 2016 until his retirement in 2018, he served as president of the VirtuStream business, a member of both Dell EMC Infrastructure Solutions Group and Dell Services and Digital Executive Leadership teams, and is a member of the Dell Technologies Extended Leadership Team. Throughout the years, he has been recognized by industry and peers with numerous awards, including Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year finalist twice, American Business Awards CEO winner, and Intel Capital's Entrepreneur Exit of the Year in 2015. Rarely does one individual have the leadership contributions, talent, and charisma to take a company to unicorn status, startups that achieve billion-dollar valuations. Rod achieved this twice in back-to-back offerings. Rod currently operates as a founding partner of Blue Lagoon Companies, which through its various entities develops, advises, and invests in disruptive technology startups and next-generation technology companies. Rod serves as chairman of the board for Lemongrass Limited and United Lex Inc. as lead board director for Beep Inc. and as a board director for Revenue and Analytics Inc. and AgriMatch Limited. Rod is also co-founder of the Blue Lagoon Foundation, a nonprofit charitable organization. Rod has been an avid supporter of UF over the years, dedicating his time and resources to the university in many capacities. For these and many more achievements, the University of Florida is proud to recognize Rod as a distinguished alumnus of the university. It is now my pleasure to invite our newest distinguished alumnus to present our commencement address. Rod?
Such an honor to be here. This is really cool. Just out of curiosity, if I could see a show of hands, who all attended the overall commencement ceremony on Friday night? Yeah, just about everybody. It was a beautiful night, and you know, I had a great event, and when I had the honor bestowed on me of being named a UF Distinguished Alumnus, I had no idea that I'd be the second most popular one in my own house. My fellow distinguished alumnus, Tim Tebow, that's pretty cool to say, gave an amazing commencement speech. And my wife, Judith, also a Gator. My daughter, Leah, who just finished her third year here as a Gator. And my daughter, Jamie, not yet a Gator, she's in high school, as kind of see the way this works. We're all thrilled to meet Tim and just take in that night. It was just an incredible night. It made me realize that, you know, I needed to step up my game a little bit for this talk. In 1987, when I was graduating UF as an engineer, I would have probably voted myself the least likely guy to be standing up here and addressing you today. It's both wonderful and humbling, and I completely understand that my give back today is a couple things. One, I gotta say something interesting. And secondly, hopefully it'll be of some value to you as you propel forward in life. So here goes. After graduation, I went straight into the technology industry and worked in a variety of software engineering roles for large companies as a consultant for Accenture, the company that ultimately became Accenture. You may think of it today as the way your forefathers wrote code. It's amazing to me how, you know, we're dealing with Fortran and Pascal and all kinds of crazy stuff back then. After roughly a decade of doing that, I decided I would start my first company with a friend and become an entrepreneur. I had no idea what that meant at the time. Judith had just left her job to start our family. We just had our first child in Leo. And I had just lost half our net worth in the public market tech bubble crash of 2000. That was an interesting time. On top of all of that, I took a 50% cash pay cut to chase the dream of building equity value. And one of the things you learn really quickly is you can't buy groceries with common stock certificates. That occurred to me, I remember, in this awful moment, you know, after I passed the point of no return on that commitment. But I stand here today and say, thank God I was foolish. Thank God I had a great co-founder, a guy by the name of Kevin Lee. And thank God I had a loving and supporting spouse. I can truly say I would not be standing here today addressing you if it wasn't for Judith and Kevin. So 4 years into founding this first company, I was presenting at an investor conference. One of my venture capitalists at an LP conference, limited partner conference. And the guy who introduced himself ahead of me on stage introduced himself as a serial entrepreneur. I'll never forget this. I was looking down the corridor, I was the next guy up. And there were some really important people in the audience in this meeting, and this meeting was very important to me because our outcomes, you know, were far from certain, and we needed to continue to get funded. But I remember thinking to myself, who on earth would want to do that? Who would want to do this twice, or 3 times, or 4 times? I didn't get to sleep much. I was totally stressed out. Didn't get to see my family much. I, you know, said no way at that time. I was going to be a one and done entrepreneur. And so today I stand before you as a serial entrepreneur, if not an unlikely one. And I thought I'd share 3 things that I've learned along the way that might challenge conventional thinking on leadership and success. I'm sure you guys get all kinds of people telling you what it takes to be successful. So hopefully this will be a little different. Pundits will say you need to be smart and you need to work hard. Well, sure, that's easy. I'd say horsepower and work ethic are like breathing. They're absolutely required to keep you alive, but they're not going to guarantee success. I'd further submit to you that curiosity is a phenomenal driver of critical thinking. Phenomenal driver of critical thinking. And fantastically correlated to entrepreneurial and business success. So go out there and be curious. Examine everything and settle for nothing. So say it with me, if you will. Be curious. Secondly, pundits will tell you to be persistent. And I'd say there's a huge difference between persistence and tenacity. Persistence is doing something repetitively until it works, hopefully it works. Tenacity is using the latest data to constantly and relentlessly recalibrate your decisions and your reporting actions to strive for business outcomes. Telemarketers are persistent. Mixed martial artists are tenacious. Be tenacious. Say it with me. Be tenacious. Finally, pundits will tell you to be situationally aware. But how does one really solve for relational consciousness, consequence, and bias? Three very different things that are inextricably linked to one another. I found that having empathy is immeasurably helpful in that regard. Empathy is understanding the plight of others from their perspective versus from your perspective. Understanding their plight from your perspective might be sympathy. Understanding it from their perspective is empathy. This helps you define your surroundings. It exposes threats. And it just happens to also make you a better human being. So, have empathy. Say it with me if you will. Have empathy. I've often said that starting a company is like being on a boat in the ocean, and you're pointed into a strong current and a stiff wind. And you decide you're gonna go. You trim your outboard engines and you throttle down on the power. Smoke comes up from your engines as they sink into the water and start to work. And you labor, and you labor, and you labor to gain momentum. Your RPMs are high. At some point, maybe even redlining, but your speed is low, frustratingly low. You work the throttle and the tabs and any instruments that you have to your avail, but you must stay committed to that throttle. Hard to do. Then, with a lot of work and a little bit of luck, you feel that glorious feeling of the boat breaking over its own bow plane. And right at that point in time, your RPMs come down, your speed goes up, and you're well on your way to success in whatever your endeavor might be. When it comes to starting up new companies from scratch and making them wildly successful, unfortunately, most don't get to feel that bow plane break and the wind on their face. It is such a precious and elusive thing. It's bloody hard work. Then it occurred to me preparing for today that this metaphor also extends to graduating from the University of Florida with an engineering degree. You decided 4 or 5 years ago, hopefully it was only 4 or 5 years ago, you were gonna go. You used all the instruments to your avail, and you undoubtedly ran high RPMs. It was bloody hard work. And today you have that glorious feeling of breaking over that mountain. So congratulations. And as you walk out of this O-Dome today and feel that beautiful wind on your face, I'd encourage you to be curious, I'd encourage you to be tenacious, and I'd encourage you to have empathy. Thank you so much. Congrats.